Okay, this podcast is going to cover installing the HTTP web server Apache and configuring it. It's probably already installed. You can check to see if it's installed by doing yum list. I don't think there's a dash. List HTTPD. Hopefully it'll work, and we can see that it is. If it says it's installed, it's already installed. There is an available package. We could update it if we wanted. Not necessary. Would not recommend it in the lab. So the Apache web server is already installed. It stores its files. It reads its. Well, let's start over. Its config file is httpd.conf. Conf. That's the config file that it reads when it starts up. So there's some stuff in there that we want to look at. The first thing we want to look at is we want to find the listen directive, and we also want to find the document root. So I'd use more. So let me VI that file so I can search more easily. So we want to find the listen directive. If you type a slash and type in listen, it is case sensitive. It'll go down to the listen directive. This tells what port it's going to listen on. So by default, the port for HTTP is port 80. If you wanted to listen on port 81, you could change this to 81. If you wanted to listen on port 8080, you could change this to 8080. This line here is commented out, so it's not going to be read. But if you had more than one IP address in your server and you only wanted it to listen on one particular IP address, then you could specify that IP address, and it would only listen on that IP address. So that's the listen directive. The next thing we want to know is where do we put the data. That's called the document root in Apache. So we search for the document root. It says here that var www.html is where we need to put our data. So if we cd over that directory, I'm not sure if there's anything out there not on this server. Virtual machine. I have an index.html and a rich.html. I'm going to move those because I don't want anything in there right now. Because this is going to be the state of your system when you start it up. So now, if I start Apache, which it might already be running, service HTTPD status tells you if it's running. It's running, so I'm going to kill it. Service HTTPD stop. I'm going to kill it, and now I'm going to try to browse to my own server, localhost. It says it cannot connect. If we were to be looking in our Wireshark Capture, which I don't have Wireshark running, I don't have Wireshark on this system, so I guess we're not going to do that. But if we were looking at our Wireshark Capture, now let's do that. Let's see. If config 202. Let's go back to this VM that does have Wireshark. And let's start it. Capture start. Oh, no interface selected. Did I say it was 202? Alright, so we put in 172.16.99.202. 172, I guess I don't have number lock on. 172.16.99.202. If we do that, we can't connect, and if we look at our Wireshark Capture, we see right here a send, a reset. Hopefully we remember from our study of the TCP protocol, when we were studying the TCP protocol, that if you send a send to a port that is not listening, the response you get back is a reset. So if I go back over to my other VM and start the service HTTPD, start. You weren't supposed to see that yet. Pretend like you didn't see that. If I go back over to my other one, and now if I refresh the page, now I can connect. I connected, but since I do not have any files in my document root, it even tells us right there what the document root is. Since I don't have any files in there, it's just showing the default page. So I'll go back over and I'll copy my rich file back. Root rich to dot. That means the current directory. So now I have a rich file. So now if I go back over to my other VM and I refresh the page, what's going to happen? Nothing really different happens because my file is not named index.html. Your your web server will reply with an index.html or index.php or index.htm or index. Whatever might exist file back to you. If you did not change the file name to index.html, then you need to put the actual file name to the file. So here was my file, rich.html. If I copy my index file back, index.html. If I copy that back, now if I go, other machine, now if I go over here and hit it without the name, it's going to show the page, because now I have an index. So my index.html actually says rich.html, so let's edit that so that it says index. And now if I go back over and other server and refresh my index.html, now it says index.html. So that's the very basics of configuring a web server. You install it if it's not installed, you start it, and you put some content into the var www.html file. And then if your content happens to be named index.html, then you can get to it without specifying. If your content has a name other than index.html, then you need to specify the name to get to it.